maybe for this section, let's talk about what's it like to ride around Hokkaido. Now, generally, I would recommend not even riding in Hokkaido until you are in spring. So maybe May, June, July, late spring to early summer in general, where it's cool enough to not be hot and not cold enough to be freezing your balls off when you're riding in the countryside. Differences in riding a bike between Sapporo and Hokkaido in general and Singapore is that the road conditions here are better than most foreign countries I've seen. I've been to Dubai, I've been to London, I've been in Tokyo. Well, Tokyo has pretty good roads. Singapore has amazing roads that you'll never find in any other country. London kind of sucks, Dubai kind of sucks. But here, the roads are pretty good. As you can see, they're not bad, pretty good. But when you're in the city, the roads are kind of shit. In semi-rural suburban areas where it connects, it kind of sucks with a lot of patchwork over potholes. They do really fill in the potholes very fast, so you will never really encounter potholes much, in fact. But it's kind of jarring because in Singapore we're used to total repavements of our road, so it's one smooth section. But in Japan, they usually patch the roads here and there, so it's not really consistent. Secondly, you must get used to the fact that you're going to be riding up and down hills. In the city, it's not a problem. In some towns, it may be a problem, and that's why I recommended not to get anything smaller than a 300 or 400. It's not going to be enough to climb the mountains. It's going to be a struggle. I saw delivery men in really suburban towns that are not really, that steep, and they are riding super cubs, and the engine is really struggling to try and make it. The third thing is that you have to note that speeds in general in Japan are really slow. Like, I'm on a rural road and god damn, it's slow. When I'm in London, if you take the I think it's kind of unfair to compare, because this is not what you call the motorway or the expressway in the UK or Singapore. This is actually a mountain pass, so the speeds here are in general comparable to town speeds. But if I were to compare this to single lane, trunk roads, what do you call that, collector roads in Singapore, single lane roads. Our single lane roads are a lot faster than they do it over here. We usually drive like 50 or 60, but over here most people can do as low as 20 to 30 kilometers an hour, and it's really driving me mad because the low speed comes to another point. In Singapore, we are used to lane splitting. In the UK, people usually lane split, but in Japan, it's kind of frowned on. I don't see people lane splitting in even in the middle of Sapporo. Nobody does that. All the riders just does it the way they do in Japan. I'm not sure what's the legality of it here. It might be a legal grey area where you can do it, or but it's not enforced, or there's no written law about it. But culturally, at the very least, people don't do it over here. Another thing to note about riding in Japan in general is that at the very least in most rural prefectures, the fact is roadworks are kind of common, and single lane roads are also common. So you have to be kind of careful and keep an eye out for slow traffic, and at the very least try and recognize some basic international hand gestures. But otherwise, if you are somebody that's used to touring in Malaysia or Thailand, it's not particularly difficult to get used to how it is over here, other than the pathfinding issues. Japan is a very, very safe place to park your motorcycle literally anywhere, with the exception of Tokyo. I would recommend against renting a bike in Tokyo for a lot of reasons. If you want to rent a bike, do it in other prefectures, because Tokyo parking is hard to find, at least legal ones. But in Hokkaido, parking is pretty plentiful in most areas, without having to pay for it. Other than that, you know, common sense for my non-Singaporean viewers, especially from the US, the UK, pretty much common sense in terms of safety still applies in this country. But for my Singaporean friends who don't really drive this kind of rural roads, and in particular for Hokkaido, the biggest nuisance or the biggest menace that locals would say on Hokkaido roads would be elderly people driving cars. So, oh, nice guy. Yeah, basically that elderly, old people, they are the biggest nuisance on the road, because it's a fact of life that you can't get around in Hokkaido without a car. It's nearly impossible as compared to Tokyo, where a car is kind of unnecessary. But in Hokkaido, no way am I getting around this island without a car or motorcycle or van or whatever. So a lot of elderly people do tend to keep driving all the way into their 80s and 90s when they are really not suited to doing so at their age. And a lot of accidents happen because of them, where they can't see the guy in front of them, and then they crash, or they miss the traffic light and they ram into somebody, you know, that sort of thing. So do take note that if there is an old person driving a car around you, do give a wide berth. Look at that beautiful, beautiful lake. That guy in front of me, the car in front of me, has probably been my unofficial pace car for quite a while. Sort of like a little tour guide. I kind of want to follow him because this guy drives at a speed that I'm pretty comfortable at, and I guess he is useful in like signaling any you know, faults in the road up ahead, turns or whatever. But I think it might come to an end. I don't know where he's going, but hopefully he's going in the same direction as I am for as long as possible. Oh my god, I really love Japan's roads. It's so fun! I mean, I'm not going extremely fast. It's like 80 kilometers an hour. This is not fast. This is like just a normal ride on the city streets back home in Singapore. But the fact is that you don't stop. It's just long, winding roads. You know, no stops. These are really great roads to ride on. I mean, who says you have to be on a sport bike doing 120, 140 to have fun, or dragging me? Seriously, 80 kilometers an hour, 90 kilometers to 100 maximum is fun enough. You know, taking this little 70, 80 kilometer an hour slow bends, it's really fun. It's so interesting. The point is that the most fun in a motorcycle road trip is the sights and the sound and the experience of a totally new area, exploring new countries, new areas. I mean, look at that, beautiful snow-packed mountains. And when you're on the road, you know, most people are really kind of polite. They acknowledge your existence, a hand wave, a head shake, whatever. It's kind of have this kind of road trip feeling.